So we have EDG versus FPX, the grand finals of LPL, still played on 11.15, so they were on this path. They've been able to keep things hidden for quite a while. Oh, the draft is going kind of too early again. So we get Trundle ban here, which means, you know, they can take Lee Sin. I don't think this is a good ban, because if you ban Trundle here, they can take Lee Sin, and then you can't punish it with the Trundle. So I think doing something like that there, if you haven't banned Lee Sin already, is really bad, especially considering this is one of the few champions that GG has played actually really well. Obviously, Aurelia, Aphelios, Viego, they're just too broken. We get the Jace and Varus. I'm surprised Jace got through, but I suppose they wanted to trade the Lee Sin with the Jace, which is also fine, but now, you know, jungle matchup is a little bit rougher. He can go Xin Zhao here for the side of FPX, but now here I would like to just see, I'd like to see something like Jinx and Thresh, to be honest, but we're probably going to see just laners taken, so probably Lucian and Gnar or Kennen will be taken here for the side of EDG, just so that, or maybe GP, maybe they'll go with the GP. I don't know if Flandre plays it, but he does play a lot of Jace, we'll know the counters into it, so I presume they're just going to counter the Jace here. Doinby's having a fucking whale of a time, like he's loving his life right now. What's going on? This guy's like, yeah, I'm gonna win worlds again, like. Okay, they went with the TF, so there's a Lucian top, or it could be AD, but I don't think so. I think it'll be top. So here, they're probably just going to respond with Sylas, to be honest. I think this is actually bad drafting by EDG, because if they pick Sylas now for Doinby, they lose. There we go. So, FPX win this game. You cannot pick TF in B3 without banning Sylas. It is so grief, it's unreal. So now they'll probably just look to ban away support, so Leona, Braum, I mean Ashe also. So I presume they're going to want to put this Lucian into the Jace top, just because Lucian does do pretty well into Jace top, to be fair. So they're just going to ban bot lanes, actually. I mean, Lucian is still flexing to bot, but I don't think it'll be played here. Not many people really realize how strong it was. There's the Xin Zhao ban, so jungle pool is getting very, very restricted for the side of FPX. They'll probably just look to ban away into the ADC. Aphelios is banned, Ashe is banned. Actually, maybe they just look to ban something like the Leona or the Trundle. I don't think they'll target another ADC. Oh, they did get rid of the Kalista. I mean, Kalista is pretty strong. Just allows the support to get out pretty much whenever. So, for the side of EDG now, probably just need to ban away another jungler. I mean, jungle pool's already very restricted now, since Lee Sin is taken, Xin is banned, Trundle is banned, Viego is banned. So I'm not actually sure what they want to go with for a ban here. I mean, the Volibear, I guess that makes sense, but what, they're going to end up taking jungle now? That's the thing. I mean, I'd love to see something like a Zac, but I doubt it with a Sylas mid. Oh my, nah, he's playing with my heart. He's playing with my heart. I mean, this is actually a really, really good matchup for Rammus. He played with my heart. Like, what the fuck, man? The Olaf comes through, but, I mean, Olaf can get punished quite heavily by Lee Sin, because he needs to drop very low on his first clear in order to, like, clear really, really quick, which means Lee Sin can just easily Q him and he's dead. He dies. So we've got the Ezreal come out. I'm not a big fan of this comp. I feel like they're very, very squishy, and unless they do a massive amount of damage, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to play. I'd prefer to see a stronger ADC here. The Leona comes out. That's kind of standard. We'll probably get it returned with the Braum, just because Braum is already really good here. So I think EDG needs to take Braum over Leona, to be honest, even though Leona is a better pick. Just because Braum counters the Lee Sin and the Lucian, like, and the Leona are a little bit too much for this kind of comp, in my opinion. But FPX is also good with Leona here. But, you know, they will take the Braum. So, I mean, in terms of draft, I mean, I actually much prefer FPX draft here. They've got a counter matchup in mid. Top is a counter matchup in the early game, but once Jace starts getting some lethality, then he can do a lot into the Lucian. And in terms of bot lane, this Leona is picked here because it's an Ezreal, so they just want to rotate with the Leona as much as possible and just punish the enemy. So that's probably going to be what they look to do here. Considering, you know, Braum is a little bit more passive in lane, I suppose, compared to Leona. But he also has a Varus in lane, so the Varus can also just look to rotate, do whatever he wants, go crazy. The camera is very scuffed. Wow, what are these wires, man? What are these wires? Nah, but legit, bro. Like, this is like a hazard. What the fuck is going on in China? This is a massive hazard. Look, you can see their feet getting, like, stuck in them. How crazy, man. That's so dumb. But let's see what they did for the actual finals. I mean, this looks pretty cool. They've picked Damwon Leona. Maybe they get the Damwon buff to actually win this. Who knows? So I mean, pretty standard so far. Oh my god, that win percentage. What the hell? Holy 85% think FPX wins. I mean, I think EDG are a very good team though, so I don't think it can be that much. I mean, right now, my thoughts is, based on the draft, probably 69% for FPX. So 31% that EDG might win, you know. I do think they've kind of screwed themselves in draft a little bit here, though. So we see junglers. Olaf is just full clearing. He's going to just clear up in towards his top lane. Since if Olaf manages to punish this Lucian now, then it's very, very rough for him. He's going to be in a bit of a tricky situation, some would say. Especially if he dies once or twice to this Olaf gank, which is on its way. His ward is a little bit shallow as well, so that he can spot a bit of river too, but I think Olaf still might be able to gank him here, since he's so pushed up. And I mean, Naguri does have waves to farm, but still. So he just decides not to. He's going to go to the opposite crab. He's going to go to bot crab. Doesn't want to do anything too crazy, since Jace won't have much of a distance that he can travel to actually shut down Lucian. And, you know, since there's that many minions, it can be a little bit rough as well, due to the fact that if that goes wrong, or, you know, the minion damage will actually probably do more than the champions in that kind of scenario. So it's basically a 2v2, Lucian and his minions against Olaf and Jace. So, I mean, Olaf just goes and gets that bottom crab. He is going to look to maybe play through mid, though. He is spotted on a ward. So, this is a big old bait by Scout. Really nice positioning from him, though. Instantly pops his potion for the Time Warp Tonic, and then they instantly go on the Olaf. He's going to die. This was one hell of a bait by Scout. Really nice positioning around this lane, actually. Okay, Doinby dies. It goes to GG. It's not bad. I think I would have preferred it going to Scout, though, to be honest, just to get him as fed as possible. Now, the thing with Scout in this game is he's not going to be the main carry. At least it needs to be the main carry in the early to mid game until he picks up his Everfrost and Rapid Fire Cannon. As soon as he picks up both of those, then he's very, very oppressive. But Viper just using his aggression to jump in. And whoa, what was that flash from Crisp? He flashed in just to get the ignite, but it just wasn't enough. That was so grief. That's really bad. You do not want to be doing shit like that. Crazy. Okay. So, that's a kill inside the mid lane, which is pretty big considering that this is a counter matchup as well. one of the big things you can do on Sylas is if you get early kills by, say for example, your Olaf coming, you can actually set up for some very, very early kills on mid lane, which will end up turning into a much bigger lead due to the fact that if TF gets his ult before Sylas, one thing you want to do with Sylas is get your level 6 before TF gets his level 6, steal his ult away instantly, and then rotate into bot lane where he can't follow you unless he uses TP. This is a way that you can get a TP advantage out of him, but the fact that he managed to get this early kill means that Sylas doesn't manage to pull ahead early in terms of XP, which is really, really important for the side of TF. Now, this also scouts TF, and he's extremely good on pretty much everything he plays. I am glad to see him playing the TF though, to be fair. I mean, tower dive a little bit messy, but does work out. They juggle aggro very, very nice, and they managed to get 2 kills for it. Again, a little bit rough, but I mean, the Lee Sin is huge now. This is the kind of pressure that the TF can have. You can always be in a side lane. Now, top lane is very, very important to get into, to be honest, and most of the ADCs at heavy meta are either very, very long range. Okay, so Scout looking to get pressure on bot lane as well. Trying to punish that flash that was wasted out of Crisp. They don't manage to do it, but still, I mean, a little bit of a wasted TP. Like, and this happens a lot with LPL. They'll TP to a fight when it's already over, just in case it's not. And here you see the TF comes through, manages to get a gold card onto Naguri. The Lucian is taking aggro at this point, does manage to get out, Scout manages to take over aggro, and then GG manages to get the kill. So, I mean, a little bit messy towards the start of that, but overall, pretty solid dive on the tower, especially at, what, 6 minutes into the game. So, EDG looking extremely proactive this game, and this is just another one of those champions that you can't give Scout. So now we have LeBlanc, Syndra, and TF. If you don't ban all 3 of those, this guy's going to get something really, really OP. It doesn't surprise me if he can play other things too. So this guy's very, very good. Tian's just going to pick up his blue here. Again, they're not starting this dragon early due to the fact that they didn't have their smite upgrades finished, and now they need to wait for an opportunity to go for the dragon. So Tian's probably just going to full clear now, up into top side, and then maybe just try and start this Herald. Now, Olaf is an incredibly powerful champ, even in a 1v2 or a 1v3 situation, so he's going to be able to quite easily get the Herald if he goes for it. Now, Lee Sin is very, very strong though, so there might be a risk that he doesn't manage to get it due to the Lee Sin being huge, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's a stopwatch in the mid lane for the TF now, opting for the Blasting Wand over the double Amp Tome. He does have 1 Amp Tome though. So now we're just kind of waiting to see who wants to pull the kind of trigger. Now GG is very ahead. Now this is something that you will see a lot of very, very good teams do, is they will get an early lead and they won't keep forcing and forcing and forcing. This is because they understand that their power spikes are based on items. Now Iron Spike Whip is a huge power spike, don't get me wrong, but it's not enough. Oh, okay, Doinby manages to get the flash out of Mako. Maybe not worth it for the support, but I mean, that's flash is gone now. She does have Hex Flash though, but this does allow GG to pick up the Herald. Olaf's going to trade it for the Dragon, which I actually really like this Dragon, but I do think that the Herald early is worth more due to the fact of the amount of pressure you do get inside the lane. So I do think they're just going to look to try and first tower top here. Since it's, you know, already super low. Now this is going to happen. Now one of the big problems with this is they are dropping this tower at the 10-minute mark. Now the problem with that is that now like they can just freeze the side lane. So we do see a tower dive in bot lane. Mako with no flash does get popped really, really quick. Again, really nice tower dive, but this time from the side of FPX to get them their first kill. Now it goes on to the Varus. But the problem is here, Lucian's getting free reign on this tier 2 tower. He's actually going to get it. So that's a massive amount of gold. Like, this Lucian is 2,000 gold up now, which is a very, very scary position to be in. And to be honest, maybe FPX just fucked this game. Like, they just played it too wrong. And, like, I don't know, man. It just wasn't too great. They weren't checking for vision. Tian really fucked up. Okay, so that was a tower dive that they managed to get off, so... So, EDG... So, I mean, pretty solid game so far from, I mean, both teams, to be honest. I think EDG have a massive lead now, though. And the problem is they have a huge lead on the snowballing champions. So, for example, the Lucian is somebody that relies on the snowball, and now he is snowball. That's going to be huge. They do lose a massive wave, but never mind. The TF does come and clean it up. I think he missed that cannon. I have a feeling that cannon was missed. So right now, if I'm the side of FPX, I'm just looking for my Sylas to start going nuts on the map. The thing is as well, there was a massive amount of pressure put on this top lane by the Lucian pick. Oh, excuse me. I always yawn when I stream. I don't know why. It's just a recent thing. It's so strange. I don't get it at all, to be honest, but oh well. Okay, GG gets a nice kick onto Crisp, and he's dead, and a Q onto Varus as well. Varus ult misses. Oh, good grief. This, like, GG, okay. GG on Lee Sin is just not allowed to happen. He is just too good on Lee Sin, I guess. But I do think the problem comes as well with... Okay, Tian dead. Lee Sin holds onto his Q for the longest time so he can get that. He still has a Q here. He can follow it up. But he decides not to. Doesn't want to get in range to allow him to heal. But the fight goes on for too long. GG is going to die to the Ignite. And they do end up just cleaning this up. So massive goal swing to the side of EDG. To FPX now, should I say. That bounty going over... So I think it was the Olaf, to be honest. Let's just double check. Oh, we'll see from the replay. So this is the fight inside of mid lane. This was very cool by GG. He got the Q and then he ward hop for the ult. Not too impressive, don't get me wrong. But then he instantly Q'd onto the Varus and then stayed on top of him so that the Varus ult would miss. Now, this is one of the big things that you want to do when it comes to dodging skill shots. Is somebody like Varus, one of the problems is he's a very, very long range carry. So when somebody gets up close to him, it's very, very difficult for him to do anything, especially... in this situation where you see that the Lee Sin is just basically staying on top of him and pathing so that when he throws it out, the Lee Sin's hitbox is over here, so it does just go wide. Very, very nice positioning from GG, and it's nice to see him actually performing because there were a lot of games where he is the kind of main reason that they lose, to be honest. So, very nice to see. Tian is locked under the tower. Doinby comes in. He does have a massive amount of wave clear. Flandre does avoid getting caught, but the Olaf just runs him down. And this was the replay from the earlier fight. Actually, Olaf does manage to kill him and obviously get a bounty, but the Lee Sin does jump in. This is fine. Now we see that, you know, Doinby flashes away. He doesn't decide to follow the Lee Sin Q due to the fact that he'll get his W off. And then they just end up chasing him down. Unfortunately, I think the kill goes over to the Braum. So unfortunately, Braum did get that bounty from the Lee Sin, which is very, very sad, considering that would have been amazing on Doinby in this game. But the Ignite had gone down, and Lee Sin managed to actually space away from them. So now, I mean, if you're the side of EDG now, though, you're still very happy. 3k gold lead, and they're, you know, Lee Sin is very, very ahead. Now, Lee Sin does fall off pretty hard, but when you're this ahead, this early, he has so much gold that he's in a very, very good position. Now, we do see this rapid fire is on its way from the TF. He does have stopwatch already. I think there might actually be a condensing stopwatch. But this rapid fire cannon is coming in soon. The Zeal is bought, and as soon as he gets that, it is very, very easy for Lee Sin to get kill after kill after kill. This is the thing with TF, it is a supportive mid laner. It's there to help your jungle. Now, if you can help your jungle with it, then amazing, don't get me wrong. So, you know, if you have these like really, really aggressive junglers, this 2v2 ends up amazing. With basically anybody with TF. If you were to put TF on the other team, it would still be a good 2v2 with the Olaf, just because it has so much CC set up in the lane, which one of the main things you're actually looking for when you're looking to gank is where is the CC that can chain with me so that I can output as much damage as possible, especially when you're playing a champion like Lee Sin, who can 100-0 somebody very, very easily if he can get on top of them. Now, Lee Sin has plenty of tools to get on top of somebody, but the problem is, in the early kind of laning phase, there's also flashes that can be burned to get away, and it becomes very rough. Now, there is a catch in the back. Naguri really having an off game. He just gets caught out by them and just locked up. We only get the one-man ultimate from the Leona. Unfortunately, Lee Sin does land his Q, but he's not going to go in on that. They're not at a point where he can just kill them off, but what he can do is he can start clearing the wave and push them away from the tower, which is obviously pretty good. Now, this Varus Q really isn't going to matter as much because Lee Sin has so much inbuilt sustain in his kit that he'll just heal it all back up instantly. So, mid tower dropped. It's now going to be much, much harder for this Varus to farm since there's way more routes that he can be ganked at. So, as long as they play this mid wave properly now, it becomes very, very rough for the Varus to actually play the game. Here we do see the catch with the Destiny from TF and the Lee Sin. Again, this combo is disgusting. Very, very powerful. But we can see, I mean, lane assignments have kind of changed. TF is still floating around in the mid lane right now, whereas he should just be going down to clear this bot lane right now. So Sylas is just pushing this, so he does get the push advantage, but there's nothing to actually get off it right now, so it's not really that big of a deal. Now, this is really, really showing like FPX's weak points. So the Lucian was actually a huge pickup here, because obviously Lucian is a big counter to Jace due to the fact that he is so strong in the laning phase. Jace is also very powerful, don't get me wrong, but Lucian is just a massive lane bully. Now, the thing with Lucian as well is he's got the Eclipse and Mana Moon nearly stacked, and what he'll do now is he'll go straight into a Serylda's, and then he'll get even more Armor Pen. Obviously, you can get 20% total armor pen when you go Eclipse on your full build, because you'll have 4 legendary items, your boots, your mythics. So obviously you can sell your boots for extra armor pen, but the extra 5% isn't really as much. But you know, Lucian at this point is going to be shredding anybody, especially even this Olaf is going to get absolutely shredded by him. Due to the fact that he's going to have so much armor penetration. Tian flashes over the wall to get away from GG. This is a really, really big fight, but I really don't think FPX are in a position to win it. They're just so behind in gold, but maybe. I mean, Flandre needs to get into the fight, and if he does manage to get into the fight, maybe he can do something. There we go. He did manage to get in there. Naguri is there. I do think they can just continue fighting this. But they are going to decide to back away now. Barras was starting to churn through his mana in that fight, and Flandre is huge at this point. So I really think that was a lack of an opportunity to just kind of run them down there. I think Flandre took a long time to get into this fight, and obviously that's because Lucian has a very low attack range, but still. So here we see this fight. GG actually managed to get the Q onto the Olaf, but since Olaf already landed his Q on the Ezreal to get the slow, he just decides to run him down. Now unfortunately Ezreal's always going to die there because Olaf is running him down, but they do get locked up. Lucian is just ulting from the back, trying to do as much damage as he can, but at this point he really needs to go in. Scout gets targeted entirely, and so does GG, but he just doesn't go in for the longest time. He just stays on the outskirts, which to me is a little bit of a grief, to be honest, considering how strong he is and the fact that if he actually did his full combo, he would very much win that fight. So this is one of the things that we see with kind of Flandre in comparison to somebody like, say, Showmaker. Say, when Showmaker plays Lucian, his combos are so fast and so clean, it's actually unreal. Whereas, you know, clearly it's not as comfortable for Flandre, or Flandre, I don't know what his name is. Don't know how to pronounce it, but... So yeah, very, very good early snowball as soon as these lanes came in. So... we'll see where this goes. So, I mean, at this point, EDG got everything that they needed to in this early game. But the thing is, FPX do still have, you know, I mean, some kind of scaling. I mean, both sides don't really scale that hard, to be honest. I mean, obviously, Jace is going to be massive for poke late game, but I mean, Jace Varus are going to be the only poke in that situation, so they still need to look to kind of all in with the Olaf Silas and even Braum to some degree, I guess. So I feel like their comp is a little bit mismatched for what FPX usually go for, whereas it's a lot cleaner for the side of EDG. Now, I do think I still prefer the FPX kind of comp overall. They do have a lot of tools to actually run them down, but since they give away way too much early, it's really not going all that well for them. So I mean, Right now, I mean, TF is on his 3-item spike as well, which is very, very big because it means, you know, he has that survivability from the Zhonya's. He has plenty of Medjay stacks as well, and Scout has previously built Medjay, so I'm very intrigued if he will build it when he gets to that 9 stack threshold, which the 9th stack of Medjay actually makes it 100% gold efficient. So even if you haven't got to 10 stacks yet, as soon as you get to 9, that's good. But Olaf is just running them down. His ult has been popped. Mako doesn't have flash, so he's just going to die there. He's just trying to get as much space as possible. Now FPX is just running them down. Really, really bad positioning from the side of EDG to kind of be in that position before they even had everybody there. Lucian did have TP, but he couldn't get there in time. Okay, GG does kind of get caught, but he does just ult don't be away straight away. So now, I mean, there's a contention for Dragon, and I mean, to be honest, I think the overall, like, the way that they're going to play this fight, I think, you know, maybe FPX do have the advantage, but they do just burn the Everfrost onto Crisp. So, I mean, if I'm the side of FPX now, I do want to kind of look for these fights, just because, you know, TF ult is down, and Everfrost got used too, so Jace is just going to poke them out here. They're going to dance on the Dragon, but, you know, Jace and Varus poke is huge. It's going to be very, very hard. Oh, we do get it on the side. The Varus does get the Dragon, so FPX does grab it. They do need to run, though, because, you know, they did invest quite a lot onto the Dragon. Ezreal ult does manage to get Tian, and Doinby is caught out as well. GG does manage to get a nice kick, and that's that. They did manage to get the Dragon, but EDG they just want blood, and they're going to kill Crisp as well now. I mean, it was nice of him to try and waste time, but there weren't much hope for that then, to be honest. So we do see that, you know, this fight goes on for quite a while, and they get the Dragon, and they still kind of decide to commit, and then the Braum ult is gone. Leona ult does land perfectly onto Doinby, and, you know, it just goes very, very terrible from here. They invest so much to get that Dragon so that it doesn't end up as a Infernal Soul for EDG, but they just end up, they do get the Dragon, but they just end up giving away Baron. Now, one of the main things to take away from LPL games is they know how to use Barons very, very well. One of the big things I think are going to be a weakness when playing against teams like FPX is, oh, we see a Medjay from TF. So one of the big things that I think is a good way that you can beat out FPX is to punish top lane and then snowball and just kind of try and force them to come to objectives. Especially Dragons, it seems like they are always willing to fight for a Dragon. Always, always, always. Which is really not a good sign, to be honest, because if they fight for a Dragon then and they lose for it, it's, you know, it's extremely rough. Now, I do think EDG are on form this game though. Like, they are playing extremely well, and I mean, I did say I preferred the FPX draft, but I just think EDG are playing better this game, to be honest. I think overall they've evaluated how to beat FPX, and they're punishing it very, very heavily. Now we do see a double cannon or siege minion here pushing this in here, but that Lucian ult just rips through Tian, and not much you can do there. Now the thing is, the jungle pool was very, very restricted by this draft, especially considering they kept it for later, so maybe they'll go back to picking jungle slightly earlier so that they get a tier 1 jungler, since I don't feel like Olaf is a tier 1 jungler, to be completely honest. But EDG do actually take this game, and overall I think they look really, really good here. Okay. Okay, I mean, all round, I mean, this was a solid game, to be honest. Let's move on to game number 2 straight away.